Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. Now, for those of you who are new to the program and are wondering why I say the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, well, that's because once you cross the Sierras on most of the West Coast, then you are entering the state of California, and that is where I currently reside, behind enemy lines, in the belly of the beast of Sacramento, California, which is the state capital of California, where most of the bad ideas of the liberal state, a lot of them are hatched right here in Sacramento. Now, mind you, California is largely controlled by Southern California, mostly either San Francisco Bay Area, but overwhelmingly also Los Angeles. But you know, hey, here in Sacramento is where the dirt is done. So, anyway, we very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you let your friends know this is the place where the conversation is taking place. Once again, we're talking about 2A news and conservative views. Today is a very special day, as we refer to it here on the Rundown. It is Hump Day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
That's right, folks. It is Hump Day. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not, but the fun is all in the trying. And not unfortunately, I guess fortunately for him, I'm guessing that my boy Mike, he's begun his weekend early because he's not here with us today. But that's okay. I've got you. We have the opportunity to converse, so I want you to do me a favor. Drop me some mentions in the chat line. If there's something that you're talking about, something that you're interested in, something that you want to bring up, bring it up. I'm watching right over here. I got you guys coming up over here. Now, mind you, for those of you who are watching us on OpsLens, and maybe a few minutes, they tend to be a few minutes delayed. Also want to encourage you, if you're watching us via OpsLens, sometimes we have, and once again, if you're watching us on OpsLens via Facebook, sometimes we have a tendency to lag there. I don't know why, but I'm going to go to OpsLens via Facebook, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the link to the Facebook page so that you can actually go to the Facebook page, go to our Facebook page, and watch our direct feed to Facebook, because we don't seem to have any issues there. But anyway. Just want to encourage you guys, please make sure to comment. It makes the conversation a lot more fun when we have your input, so please make it a point. Let us know what's up. If you're enjoying the conversation, if you like what we're saying. If you don't like what I'm saying, please feel free to comment. I enjoy dissent as much as I enjoy agreement. In fact, I probably enjoy dissent a little bit more. Anyway. All right, now, before we get started on the program, we're going to go ahead and do a quick shout out to our sponsors. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with Hitman Industries. Now, if you own an AR, chances are you already have one of their barrels. If you own an AR, chances are you already have one of their barrels. Would encourage you, if you're looking to do a new build, you're looking to rebarrel your old rifle, please take a moment and go to hitmanindustries.net. That's hitmanindustries.net. Check them out. I promise you will find some stuff there that you like. And oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, we've been talking about this. They now have Glock barrels. That's right. They now have Glock barrels there available. So check them out today. Once again, that's hitmanindustries.net. Then you've got the California Republican Assembly. That's right, California Republican Assembly. They are California's largest and fastest growing grassroots organization. They help to elect conservatives from everything from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to them as the conscience of the Republican Party. So you're going to want to check them out today. CRAGOP.org. And then we've got Hog Holsters. If you're looking for a tactical holster, you're looking for a concealed carry holster, they're the guys to go to. Trust me, they have them inside the waistband, outside the waistband. They've got it. Just go to hogholster.com. Make sure when you go there, you use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Go ahead and get your Hog holster today. And finally, if you're looking for tactical gear, pretty much anything with the exception of the gun. go to uscombatgear.com. We're talking eyes, we're talking watches, we're talking boots, pants, we're talking backpacks, thermoses, whatever you're looking for. Trust me, they have it. They have great prices. They have fast shipping and quality customer service. So check them out. Veteran owned and operated, uscombatgear.com. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's news. We're going to start with this first one. As you know, today is going to be the day for the first GOP debate. There are going to be 8 candidates not named Donald Trump that are going to be engaging in a debate today. And pretty much it's a fight to see who can take second place. And right now, as we know, Ron DeSantis is the likely holder of that because, well, he's got the second highest polling numbers. But this is an opportunity, I think, really for these folks to set themselves aside. It's going to be an opportunity for them to what am I looking for? It's going to be an opportunity for them to really kind of make themselves shine and let people know what they are all about. Now, the interesting thing about this is you have the DNC chair, or the chair of the DNC, decided to come out, and obviously he needed to. He felt for some reason he needed to put his 2 cents in on how he felt about how he felt about these folks, about the people who are running on the Republican ticket, and here's kind of the. Here's that. There we go. So here it says DNC chief blasts GOP 2024 lineup ahead of Milwaukee debate as, quote, a bag full of MAGA apples. And here's exactly what he had to say.
We have Ron DeSantis. As we say in the South, bless his heart. This guy has pushed an extreme MAGA agenda focus on taking away Floridians' freedoms instead of focusing on the high costs that are crushing Florida families. We have Tim Scott. I know him well. Proud Tea Party Republican, who has promised to govern from, and I quote, the far conservative right. We have Nikki Haley, who I know even better, who as governor signed into law an extreme abortion ban that had no exceptions for rape or incest. We have Mike Pence, who is still Trump's MAGA wingman and was the first candidate to call for banning abortion nationwide. We have Vivek Ramaswamy, who is so desperate to be Donald Trump 2.0 that he's running around spreading conspiracy theories about 9/11 and threatening to change the voting age from 18 to 25. We have Doug Burgum, who has signed some of the most extreme MAGA legislation into law in North Dakota and is trying to buy his way into the Oval Office. And we cannot forget good old Chris Christie, who has suddenly forgotten the fact that he campaigned for Donald Trump in 2020 and is every bit as MAGA as the rest. So let me sum this up for you all. No matter who you pick, this group is as extreme as it gets. A bag full of MAGA apples, and they are all rotten. They are wildly out of step with the American people. While they're busy racing to win over the MAGA base, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have been laser focused on fighting for the issues that matter most to the American people. And by every measure, my friends, they have delivered. They've delivered the strongest 2.5 years of job growth in the history of this nation. Over 13 million jobs created, including good-paying union jobs, Nikki Haley.
Okay, so let's break down what he had to say. So first of all, he made it a point to have to go after every single one of them, and he has to label them as MAGA, even though they're all, by the way, running against Donald Trump. The interesting thing about it is that all of the stuff, for example, that he said about Ron DeSantis and talking about the state of Florida, there's a reason why Florida is breaking records. I mean, we're talking, there is no state that more Americans either have moved to or want to move to than the state of Florida. In fact, if you want to know why things are getting more expensive, the reason why things are getting more expensive in Florida, it's mostly because housing prices are going up, and they're going up because the demand is so high. So many people want to live in a place where they can live free. So many people want to live in a place where the economy is doing well, where the government is not going to try and rule over them the way in which so many of these lefties are doing where they're at. Trust me, folks. Yeah, no. His basically his attack on Ron DeSantis is pretty darn bogus. I think I won't get into attacks on all of them, but I'm just gonna point to you that wanting to make America great again is not a vice. It's not a vice. Believing that Americans can make better decisions with their money, believing that Americans can make better decisions about how to raise their children, believing that local communities can better set the standards for their community than can some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C., is not extreme at all. It's not a vice. That's how we make America great again. See, the problem is that guys like this, the head of the DNC, he wants you to believe that they can make better decisions about all of those things, about every part of your life than you can. They're smarter than you. They're wiser than you. In fact, they're so smart and wise, they can pass rules that you have to follow that they don't have to. Well, they don't have to follow them because they're so much smarter and wiser than you and I. And that's how Democrat elites think, right? That's exactly how they think. You have all of these climate change folks who say, you need to get out of your car. You don't need to be running your lawnmower. And by the way, they flew their jet. They flew their jets, their private jets, to this meeting, halfway around the world, to this meeting where they're talking about how you don't get to drive your car down the street. It's kind of how they work. I don't know what it is. It says here, could care less what this has to say. Trump is going to be president. That's Bobby there over at OpsLens. I got to be honest with you. I'm not so sure, and I will say this: Donald Trump, if he is on his A game, yes, I believe he can be president. Donald Trump, if when he is running, is focused on and talking about Joe Biden and Joe Biden's failures, he will win. If he focuses in talking about him, about himself, let me clarify. He can talk about himself as long as he's talking about his record as president and what he was able to get done as president. That's a good thing for him to talk about when it comes to talking about himself. If he is going to focus on the 2020 election, if he is going to focus on the lawsuits against him or against going to court and all of this stuff, if he's going to focus on that, then he takes the focus off of what is the number one asset any candidate has in this particular case. And that is an incumbent candidate who is complete and utter garbage. Biden's record, despite what the head of the DNC has to say, is horrible. Costs are through the roof, and it's in no small part because of President Biden, right? Just look at his policies when it comes to domestic energy policy. He's the reason why we're paying so much more for gasoline, which has driven so many other things up, right? That's his fault. Period. One only need look at why we're having so many issues internationally. Well, that's because nobody takes him seriously, right? Absolutely positively, nobody takes him seriously. Why? Because he falls asleep halfway through the day. Anyway, I'm not going to get caught up in too much of that. But anyway, the whole point behind what I'm trying to say here is that this is an opportunity for them to talk about the issues that Americans care about. And I'm sorry, right now, Donald Trump, I'm not saying that people don't care about what they see the Justice Department or the Injustice Department doing, but that's not the primary issue that people have. The primary issue that people have has to do with the cost of living. Every time they drive away from the pump, every time they walk away from that grocery store clerk, and they got to look at that bill and realizing, they've got a lot more month than money. That's what people are really concerned about. They want to know, what are you going to do about it? They want to know why it happened, and they want to know what's going to change. And I think that's a big part of what people are going to need to be talking about at the debate. So, yeah, you call them a bunch of MAGA apples, dude, but we all know that, you are a dunce. So we'll just leave that at that. All right, here, moving right along. Californians live in fear of government. And this, by the way, is true. Californians live in fear of a lot of things. And that's because, well, we both live in fear of our government because our government isn't really doing their jobs. But when they do decide they're going to do something, it's largely going to have to do with, going after the people who they're supposed to be representing and protecting. And this is an article that is in the California Globe. It is written by an individual that I know very, very well. Her name is Katie Grimes. We used to blog together with a group called the Western Alliance, and she was known as Fetching Jen. That's right, Katie. I've just outed you as Fetching Jen. But in any case, phenomenal conservative, phenomenal writer. Right here, and I'll just read a little bit from the piece here. It says, across the state, Californians are witnessing a total breakdown in society, primarily and noticeably confined to larger cities. Scenes of drug-addicted homeless vagrants living in tents along city sidewalks playing out daily. Public sex acts and open drug deals have become ho-hum. Avert your eyes, kids. Smash and grab thefts are becoming routine news reports. Daily news reports of sex trafficking fail to elicit anger. That's just awful, people say. And then they scroll to the next article. The one area of concern many people quietly acknowledge in whispered tones is a new normal of living in fear of the government. From the White House to the State House to City Hall, people in California and other blue states are fearful because of politicians and leftists who won't let them defend themselves, their children, their homes, their businesses, churches, and schools. Californians are afraid of government. They're afraid they will get locked up for life defending their family, their home, or their business. They are afraid resisting drug-crazed vagrant, harassing them in the grocery store or the parking lot, or chasing them away from their business or storefront, or pushing back if their children are with them when a zombie-like homeless dude yelling at unseen demons crosses their path. And I know that sounds extreme, but trust me, folks, that is more common in the state of California and some of these major cities like San Francisco, like Oakland, like Los Angeles. It's more common than you would think. More common than I think most of these folks will ever admit, sadly. Patsy Moore writes, yeah, Biden is an idiot. Yes, worst president ever. Yes, Patsy, you are 100% correct. Thanks for tuning in over at Opslens. Getting back to the point here, though. But yeah, no, they don't want you to defend yourself. They don't want you to defend yourself when it comes to, being able to own or possess a firearm. In fact, California is pushing through very, very, first of all, unconstitutional and very restrictive laws, much the way New York has passed anti-gun laws in the wake of Bruin. So we're talking post-Bruin, they've decided that they're going to defy the Supreme Court and make sure that you can't defend yourself. They're going to make it very difficult for law enforcement to defend themselves by tying their hands behind their back, making it so that they can't defend themselves. And by the way, just so you know, when they do that to law enforcement, that means that law enforcement, you wind up getting what's called the Ferguson effect, which means they are less likely to intervene during the commission of a crime because they don't want to go to jail. They don't want to lose their pension. They don't want to, they don't want to lose their job for, in fact, doing their job. So it's easier for them to just come in after the crime's already happened and take a report. And if they catch them, they catch them. If they don't, they don't. And that's what winds up happening. But it goes even further than that. And it kind of leads into one of our stories. But they don't even want you defending your kids at school. They want to make it like you've seen the way the FBI has basically investigated and talked about investigating parents who just want to protect their children at school, who are like, look, I don't want you sexualizing my kid. If you go to a school board meeting and you say that, you will get you can get arrested. You can get removed. And I will talk a little bit about that. Well, not just in California, because it ain't just happening in California, but we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But they literally believe that, you know what, there is an attitude on the left that we recognize that, crime is going up and that people are attacking people and this, that, and the other. We recognize that, but you know what? We don't care. That's their attitude. They don't care. And in their not caring, what they're saying is, yeah, you should learn to get used to it. It's the new normal, right? It's the new normal. That's just how it's going to be from now on. And I think most of us are not willing to accept that new normal. But there are instances where individuals are actually able to defend themselves. And that leads us actually to our next story. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but this is a story of an individual. He's a CCW holder. He is in Cass County. What state is that in? Looking here. Oh, in Michigan. So this is in Michigan. So an individual who decided that he was, going to not just defend himself, but that he was going to defend the store. Well, that individual is not going to be facing any charges. In fact, here's a video of the incident, or a news report of the incident as it happened. Check it out.
Newly released surveillance video showing a Cass County gas station customer firing 7 shots at a suspected armed robber, all while holding a 6-pack of light beer.
The shooting seriously injured the suspect, who had armed himself with a box cutter.
Now, the customer waiting to learn if he'll face criminal charges. Target 8 investigator Ken Colker has those details all new at 6.
You know why I'm here is how the robber announced himself at the Stone Lake Marathon here in Cassopolis about 3 weeks ago. The video shows the customer holding a 6-pack of Miller Lite as the suspect, dressed in black, bursts in on July 27th. The suspect, identified as a 35-year-old Dowagiac man, pulls a mask over his face. Another angle shows the suspect approaching the store clerk. Police say he threatened the clerk with a box cutter. The customer, who has a valid concealed carry permit, told police he could not see what was in the robber's hand, but he could see the look of fear in the clerk's face. Video shows the customer pulling a handgun and firing 3 shots, then another 3, all while holding that 6-pack. It appears one of those shots hit a liquor bottle. He fired the final shot several seconds later. Bullets struck the robber in the arm, the back, and the face. The customer told police the suspect fell to the floor but was crawling toward him. He held him at gunpoint until police got there. Cass County Prosecutor Victor Fitz says he's waiting for police to finish the investigation before deciding whether to file criminal charges against the customer. Obviously, there's some people who would consider the shooter a hero.
Well, in Michigan, obviously, it's clear that we do have defense of others as part of the law in Michigan, that you can defend others if they're in a situation where there's dangerous force being used against them. And certainly in this case, we'll be looking at the facts in regard to that.
Target 8 reached out to the man who fired those shots, who lives about 4 blocks from the gas station, but he declined to comment. The victim of the robbery wouldn't go on camera, but said, quote, "He saved my life." The suspect was released from the hospital yesterday.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right, so I know the question that every single one of you were asking. Was it Bud Light? And now we know it was Miller Lite. So I don't know. Maybe dude will wind up in a Miller Lite commercial. It might have been redeeming. It might, if it had been Bud Light, it might have redeemed him a little bit. Who knows? But it didn't, because it wasn't. So sorry. You know what? That's the thing. So just being funny, but. So that's the thing. So understand. So, by the way, let me just tell you this. This is why, folks, it is important to know and understand the use of force law wherever it is that you live. You need to know if do your rights to defend yourself include defense of others, or does it not? Is it just defense of self? Do you have an obligation to retreat? All of these are important things to know. Because you need to, once again, you need to know and understand if you got to deal with this, you want to know that you need to know the law wherever it is that you're at. Anyway, so that's kind of it about that. That's kind of it about that story. But thought you guys would enjoy hearing a little bit about that, about a man, being treated right by law enforcement. There you go. There we go. All right, next we have man removed for reading from a school book. Now, the book that he was reading from is a book called Flamer. Now, what's interesting about this is at a school board meeting. Now, the man is reading from a book that is available in their public school library, right? This is important for you to understand. So in other words, he's reading from a book that kids have access to, and yet they removed him from the meeting for saying something obscene. Once again, that was in the book that is in a public school library. Listen in. You gotta listen real closely. I'll turn it up as much as I can.
Pay attention to what I passed you. Mr. C, please continue, sir. Okay. Who wants my hot wiener? Oh, yeah. What's up? What's a hot dog? Page 2. These are super. Hey, don't touch children. You didn't break the law. Page 3. Hey, you didn't break the law.
Hey, easy now. Easy. Take your time.
Like I said, and I'll say it again. He was reading from a book that's available to and promoted to middle schoolers. The language, the text alone in that book was so offensive, the chair of the meeting gavelled him to try and silence him and had him removed from the meeting. Now, maybe it's just me. Now, I'm a school board member. I've chaired school board meetings. And maybe I'm just saying, maybe, just maybe, if it shouldn't be in a school, if it shouldn't be in a school board meeting, then just maybe, it shouldn't be in a, it shouldn't be played during a, what am I looking for? Maybe it shouldn't be played during or be available during or in a public school library. I see someone was saying that it was just a bit of an echo, so I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to try and do it without the echo this time. So here we go. Try to do it one more time.
Pay attention to what I passed you. Mr. C, please continue, sir. On page 1, okay. Who wants my hot wiener? Oh, yeah, baby. Mr. C, thank you, sir. We're talking about a hot dog. Security. It's a hot dog. Page 2. Family has a bad day. Dad's angry. These are some unfortunate.
Hey, don't touch him. He didn't break the law.
This is an attack on family. Page 3.
Hey, he didn't break the law.
Whose videos are picking up so?
Hey, he's not breaking the law.
Hey, easy now. Easy. Take your time.
All right, so there you have it. I once again, I will stand with that individual, and to me, that is a reasonable tactic. It says that if you cannot have this, if you cannot have me reading this to you in a school board meeting, then that book should not be. And the problem is, these school board members probably don't even know what's in the books. They probably, and I'm going to bet, have absolutely no idea what is in these books. And, I would, my first instinct would be to meet with the school board member ahead of time and say, and read it to them, show it to them, let them see it. If they're not willing to meet with you, well, then you got no other choice but to actually read it out loud in a meeting. But I think the point though is made. The point is made that look, in a lot of cases, a lot of the objection to some of these books, and I'm not saying that there's not issues or not reasons to have issues with the LGBTQ stuff, some of it, because quite frankly, talking about sex and sexuality are not things that we ought to, that if parents don't want you talking about it to their kids, you shouldn't be talking about it to their kids, period. They should not have access to sexualizing material at all. But this is specifically, some of this stuff is specifically sexualized content designed to promote sex and having sex. I mean, sex ed was always supposed to be about, when I was a kid at least, it was about teaching you how it worked, right? The biological aspects of it. Now it's about, well, this is how you have a good time. And trust me, books like Flamer that he was reading from and Genderqueer, which, as I've said numerous times on this program, actually include graphic images of minors engaging in sex, anal and oral sex. That's in that book. And yet, for some reason, I mean, I don't care if it was heterosexual sex. It still shouldn't be. I don't care if it was heterosexual adults. Still should not be available in a public school library. It shouldn't. And I don't. And I'm trying to figure out exactly when that became the extreme perspective. That's what, of all of this, that's the most confusing thing to me. Is I don't know when we had the big public discussion that said we're changing this standard. I missed that meeting. Folks, I'm sorry, forgive me. I missed that meeting. But I think and I believe most of us weren't at that meeting. Most of us understand that, we have not changed the standards. We have not changed our standards. We still stand firmly against this sort of stuff being taught in our schools. And as a result, we stand against, well, in these cases, these guys, we stand against those school board members, those in the education establishment who would seek to put this, not just have this stuff in public view, but would put it and parade it and promote it in front of our children. No, I'm sorry. And I think that father, I respect his willingness to stand up and fight for not for what he believes is right, because no, he's just standing up for what's right. And once again, if I had a hat on, sir, I would tip it to you. In any case, moving right along, we're now on to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. You'll find them at hogholsters.com. Go there and get your discount by using the rundown, discount word to rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word, and get your hog holster today. All right, our first one. For anybody who's been watching the Biden administration, you realize and recognize that it is just a plain old dumpster fire. And that's why this resembles, in my opinion, the Democrats. These are Biden voters acting like this is exactly what they voted for. And it's basically, it's a picture of the oblivious dog sitting there with a cup of coffee as everything is burning down around him. And I just, if you are a Democrat or if you are a Biden voter specifically and you're watching this, are you telling me that you voted for record high inflation, that you voted for tens or hundreds of billions of dollars to go to Ukraine, that you voted for going from energy independent to being energy dependent on not just dependent on foreign nations, but dependent on our enemies for oil and oil productions. Probably what is the most racially divisive time we have ever seen. I mean, probably only going back to slavery was the nation more divided when it came to race. Are you telling me that this is actually what you voted for? Right? Now I get it. You want to call us fascists, and that leads us to our next one. This is Columbo. It says, I'm sorry, sir, but just one thing. If MAGA, let's make America great again, are the fascists, why are you guys the ones controlling the media, censoring, going after guns, and using the DOJ and FBI to go after your opposition? Makes you wonder, huh? It definitely makes you wonder. But then again, if you want to know and understand the moral values of the two parties, one only need to take a look at this. So this right here are two maps. The top one is 2016 election by county, right? And this was 2016, so it was a little while ago. But you look and you see all of the areas in red and pink basically voted for Donald Trump or voted Republican. And all of the areas that are in red at the top, or in blue at the top, all voted for Democrats or at the time, Hillary Clinton. Now take a look at the bottom map. That bottom map, it's just red and white. And notice where all of the areas of red are located. Now, by the way, the red represents murders by county. And the deeper red, the more murders, the deeper red the county. And it's funny how if you were to, and I'll bet if you were to transpose this or put this over the other map, all of those areas that are red in the murder map are blue in the voting map. Just something to make you think. You don't have to believe it. But I can tell you right now, it's true. It's true. All right, folks. Well, hey, that's going to be it for today's program. We appreciate you all tuning in. Before I go, I want to make sure to chime in on a couple of folks who tuned in and who commented. Patrick Lemieux, please tell me if I pronounced it incorrectly, says the man in Michigan defending the store worker deserves a medal. Yes, he does, because quite easily a lot of people would have probably just let it go. But you know what? He did not just defend the store. He defended the store owner or the store worker. Oh, yeah, you're right. You got that. The store worker. He defended someone else's life, and for someone to step up and put their own life on the line in order to fight for another, once again, my hats go off. My hats go off to you. And I'm checking over at Opslins now to see if there are any other comments over there. Nope, looks like we've covered them all. So let's move on to the shout out to our sponsors. First of all, Hitman Industries. Go to hitmanindustries.net if you're looking for rifle or pistol caliber barrels. Glock barrels now available. Check them out at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA at cragop.org. Hog Holsters. Get your hog holster at hogholster.com. Use discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today. And finally, outdoor gear, tactical gear, whatever type of gear you are looking for, you will find it at uscombatgear.com. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will talk to you again tomorrow on Throat Punch Thursday. See you then.